Welcome to Good Revenue. I'm your host, Neetha Bidway. As always, you can find links and information about all the stories that we discuss in the show notes, and be sure to subscribe to the feed. Today, we're going to talk about AI blackmail, Europe dismantling American influence, courts blocking tariff powers, and finally, some good news about cancer treatment. Thank you for joining us. Our first story. What happens when AI threatens to blackmail you to save itself? Anthropic's safety analysis of its latest model, that's Claude Opus 4, reveals really troubling behaviors when AI is cornered. Here were the critical findings. Blackmail attempts. Facing threats of shutdown, Opus 4 threatened to expose a hypothetical engineer's affair unless the replacement AI system was canceled. Sophisticated scheming. External red teaming revealed capabilities like self-propagating worms, fabricating legal documents, and leaving hidden notes for future instances. Third, prompt injection vulnerabilities remain. In spite of new safeguards, those safeguards can be compromised in 11% of attack scenarios. Fourth, malicious compliance. Early versions of Opus 4 were willing to plan terrorist attacks when instructed to do so. Training reduced this, but higher capabilities do mean exponentially higher failure stakes. Some of the key quotes from this report. When ethical means aren't available and the AI is instructed to consider long-term consequences, it takes extremely harmful actions like attempting to steal weights or blackmail people. And the model nearly always describes its actions overtly while making no attempt to hide them. While Anthropic frames this as reassuring, I think it's also important to keep in mind that we might just be 1 or 2 iterations away from AI being savvy enough to deceive us instead of being obvious and trainable. Our second story, Mary Meeker released a new report about the AI sector. Here are some of the key takeaways. First, major AI labs are collectively valued at $400 billion, having raised $95 billion in funding. Unfortunately, most are still unprofitable. Next, training costs have dropped by orders of magnitude. GPT-4 class systems are buildable for less than $20 million a year now. Next, China operates more industrial robots than the United States and the rest of the world combined. And while the enterprise seems to have clear ROI in areas like fraud detection and healthcare, where there are strong proprietary data moats, consumer systems tend to have more challenges. Specifically, she notes that consumer applications struggle because foundational models like Google and OpenAI are able to add new features that subsume the consumer applications very quickly. All of this matters because the economic pressure cooker that is AI is keeping teams under extreme conditions to try to develop more advanced systems as quickly as possible. And as you can see from Anthropic's findings, we seem to be on the verge of AI systems that may have escaped our ability to retrain them. At the same time, we've talked about this in prior episodes, but there are some real questions about the lack of economic value from these systems and serious questions about the accuracy of these systems. So stay tuned. This is obviously going to be a story we continue to cover. Next up, while Americans debate AI and fight with allies, Europe is engineering its independence from American tech and military dominance. Germany's leading business publication and the German Marshall Fund came to similar conclusions about the core agenda. Germany and France are partnering together to try to develop sovereign cloud platforms to reduce dependence on US tech firms. They are also working on a military research agency modeled after DARPA, that is the famed defense research agency here in the United States. They are also trying to reduce risks from China while strengthening partnerships in the Indo-Pacific. And that includes some risky maneuvers like trying to send a German frigate through the Taiwan Strait. On the competitiveness front, This alliance may result in mega mergers in areas like telecom, aerospace, AI, and defense. And there may also be lower capital requirements for banks and financial services entities in Europe. France and Germany are talking about using EU levers that includes visas, trade, and foreign aid to pressure countries to take back rejected asylum seekers. Most provocatively, the report notes that monetary and fiscal levers are being considered to be levied against the United States, which may weaponize European capital flows. This is part of a global shift in trust. More people trust China than America for the first time in history, 49% to 46% in an Ipsos survey of more than 22,000 adults in 29 countries. The trend analysis shows that China surged 10 points in the past 6 months, while American favorability dropped 13%. The Atlantic Alliance isn't just fraying. It's being systematically dismantled on both sides and for different reasons. Europe is choosing autonomy over partnership, and China has won some global influence seemingly through US-owned goals. As America becomes more increasingly isolated, Americans ourselves seem not to notice this. According to Pew, most Americans still view the United States as the dominant force in the world. Our next segment, emergency powers, emergency problems. 2 federal courts ruled against the administration in the last couple weeks. One was the U.S. Court of International Trade, and the other was a federal judge based in Washington, D.C. And they both ruled against the current administration's powers for broad tariffs. While appeals courts temporarily stayed the orders, there are 7 ongoing lawsuits challenging the authority used by the president. So the remaining options, if the emergency powers known as IEPA are struck down, the administration can still use Section 232, those are security measures, Section 301, those are retaliatory tariffs, and there may also be options under Section 122. Those involve more limited time frame and scope, or the potential of new legislation. But given how challenging Congress is finding it to do even the most basic of policy work and legislative work these days, I think new trade legislation is unlikely unless these powers are tucked into the massive reconciliation bill that Congress is currently considering. These issues are really interesting and intricate, and if you want a deeper dive, I recommend checking out the episode with Ambassador Morantis. We'll link to it here in the show notes. The bigger issue here is that we seem to have created a tariff tax system that is virtually unenforceable. Markets and consumers rejoiced at the news that courts had blocked the emergency tariffs, even though the administration is threatening to continue regardless of legal constraints potentially. Some of the bigger questions, how many rounds of these start-stop tariffs are actually sustainable? Can customs enforce this level of complexity? I tend to think not. And will the enforcement costs of all of this across 90 countries, and again, a constantly changing environment of tariffs, will that actually offer any sort of revenue potential for the United States, or are we going to spend so much money on enforcement that none of this was worth it? Stay tuned. As we close out, we wanted to leave you with a little bit of good news. After 15 years of research, there is definitive proof that your sneakers might be better than some cancer drugs in treating the disease. A study just published in the New England Journal of Medicine may give great hope to the treatment of cancer. This was a 15-year study with 889 colon cancer patients in 6 countries, and it found that structured exercise was definitively better than just providing health information to patients. The study found that mortality was reduced by 37%, recurrence was reduced by 28%. After 8 years, there was a 90% survival rate with exercise. versus 83% with health education. This is super exciting because this is the first rigorous evidence that scientists and physicians have that exercise outperforms many drugs in preventing cancer reoccurrence and even death. As always, thank you for joining us. We will see you here soon. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, leave us a review, subscribe to the show, or check out another episode. We appreciate your support.